A pleasant morning to you. My name is Leymour Suckram, and today I will be answering a few questions for you. The first question is, please tell us about yourself. What are your interests and hobbies? Now, I've been married for 15 years. I have two boys, 9 years and 14 years of age. I am definitely interested in watching documentaries, especially documentaries that involves science and history. I love science. Second question is, are you involved in extracurricular activities that you could coach or supervise? Yes. I currently supervise the volleyball team and I coach the quiz team at my school, so I could definitely supervise your volleyball team as well. Question 3. Why did you decide to become a teacher for the subject for which you are applying? No, I have decided to become a teacher because I love imparting knowledge on others. Also, there's not a lot of male teachers in the teaching profession, and so I decided to be someone who the boys can look up to and relate to and see as a role model. However, I teach all subjects at the primary level: maths, language arts, social studies, science, physical education, etc. Question 4. Are you currently employed as a teacher? Yes. I currently work at the Haddo Primary and Infant School as a teacher. Question 5. How many hours per day do you teach and how many days per week? I I teach approximately five and a half, 6 hours per day, and I teach for 5 days per week. Describe your teaching experience. What subject have you taught and what grade level? Over the 4 years and 7 months I've been teaching, I've taught grade 5 and grade 4, 2 years each, and I currently teach grade 4. And I teach, as I said before, I teach all subjects at the primary level. Question 7. Describe other work experiences you have had beside teaching. Well, I've worked in hospitality for 13 years, which I get many experiences and meet and greet people from all over the world. It was a good job and I loved it. Next question. Have you ever worked in the United States? If so, when, where, and why? Yes, I've worked in the United States before. In 2007, I worked on the hotel work program at the JW Marriott in Phoenix, Arizona, and I stayed there for 8 months. This opportunity gave me the international experience that I need in that field at the time. Question 9 says, what do you hope to be doing professionally 5 years from now? Well, 5 years from now, I would love to achieve a master's degree in education. Also, I would love to gain more skills and mastery in the teaching profession. All right. Question 10 says, if I were to talk to several of your colleagues, how would they describe your personality? Well, my colleague would describe my personality as being humble, quiet, respectful, and I'm always willing to participate in activities, especially those that will benefit my students. Yes. Next question. What would your students say about you? I think that my students would say that they love me. I think they would say that I am a good teacher and I'm easy to relate to, I'm easy to talk to, and I'm fun to be around. Question 13. What would your lesson plans include? Now, my lesson plans normally include the grade level, the subject, the topic being taught. It normally includes the attainment target, the specific objectives from the curriculum. It has the content summary, the material to be used in that lesson, and the procedure of the lesson usually outlines the 5 E's and the 4 C's, which allows students to be creative, collaborate, and explore. All right, and question 14 says, Describe how you would teach reading to a class of 15 students with mixed abilities. Now, I will teach reading to a class of 15 students with mixed abilities by first using the diagnostic test result to determine the grade level that they are at and group them accordingly. Now, once I've done that, I would use differentiated instructions and materials for each group. For example, the more advanced group would get more advanced instruction and materials to work with, while the slower groups would be scaffolded and given guidance and one-to-one attention. Now, for students who are struggling, I would create individual learning plans for them along with their learning profile for them to track their own learning. Question 15. Describe how you would teach math to a class of 15 students with mixed learning abilities. Now, the first thing I would do in this situation is to first determine their abilities. Then I would modify my lesson. I would use differentiated instruction to meet each abilities. Now, in that lesson, I would start from the most basic part of the math and gradually work up to the more difficult part of the maths. And I will also use the differentiated instruction, differentiated activities, differentiated assessment in the process, along with demonstrations, and give the students manipulatives for them to manipulate and try to learn as much as they can possibly learn. All right. Now, question 16 says, think about a class that you have taught recently. Talk about two of the teaching strategies or method that you used. Recently, I've taught a social studies lesson on water pollution. The strategy used was the KWL strategy. Now, the students were able to state what they learn, what they know about water pollution. They wrote what they want to learn about water pollution. And at the end of the lesson, the students were able to state what they learned about water pollution. Now, during the process, we watched videos on water pollution. We participate in reading activities on water pollution, followed by a discussion on the causes of water pollution and ways of minimizing water pollution or to prevent water pollution. Question 17 says, what methods do you use to grade or evaluate students' progress? Now, the methods I normally use to grade or evaluate student progress are observation. I use projects. I use tests like long answer question, short answer question, multiple choice. I use role play and group activities. All right. Next question. If you use technology in teaching, describe how you use it. Specifically discuss your experiences using a smartboard and ways that you could incorporate it in your lesson. Now, I have used computers and projectors in my lesson to watch videos and to view information on a big screen. However, our school does not have smartboard. So I have never used smartboard at the school. However, but I have used smartboard in college to make presentation, and I know it is very interactive, and students can also use it to make their presentation. They can also use smartboard to play online games, to find education, to find information, to use online games in the classroom for students to go up and answer their questions using the smartboard. Okay, question 19. If you have students who are noisy and non-attentive, share with us two ways you get them to quiet down and concentrate. Now, whenever my class is noisy, I usually count backwards from 5 to 0. Once I reach 0, the students are usually quiet down and attentive. Now, during instruction, where students are not attentive, I usually ask that specific child a question to refocus them. All right, so 21 Question 20 says, describe the most difficult problem you have had to deal with as a teacher and how did you solve the problem. Now, the most difficult problem I have to deal with as a teacher was when two children were fighting. The first thing I have to do is to get them to stop fighting. Then I sat them down and asked them what's the problem, to find out what's the reason why they were fighting. And they give their response. Then I asked them questions such as, how could you resolve this issue without fighting? And once they have responded, I showed them ways of resolving conflicts without getting physical or without arguing about it. Question 21. Give one example to show that you are flexible. Give one example to show that you are a flexible person and that you can make changes to your teaching and methods if that is necessary. Now, one example to show that I'm flexible is that one afternoon I was teaching a science lesson and I planned to use videos on reading materials and charts. However, the classroom was hot, the students were restless, and they were not paying attention at all. And so I decided to take them outside and group them